Hello, welcome to day 3 of this 30 days of React challenge. And I know I'm running a bit late, but eventually we will have to do this in 30 days only. So yeah, let's go to problem 3. In last problem, we worked on use state, right? So let's see what we have to do in this. It's an easy category, so it makes me happy, at least for now. Random number generator, okay. Your task is to build an application that takes, let me read it, okay. Your task is to build an application that takes input from a starting number and an ending number, generate a random number between that, and display the generated number. And dynamic data, most likely, yeah, we will have to use state instructions. Create two input fields. Number one of the starting range should be start range, the other one should be end range. Generate a button. When clicked, random number additionally should have display a div generated number, okay. Input validation, that's fine. Random number generator, that's fine. Okay, let's focus on challenge part. Ensure that you have to create two input elements of now type number. They wrote same thing here also. One should have the ID start range and the other one should have the ID end range. Start range, end range, got it. You should have a button. So input field, then input field start range, input field end range, then a button which is generate, and then a div which is random number, so where we will show the output, okay. And when the generate button is clicked, the third item, generate button is clicked, check the values in the input fields, and if either of, okay, if it is not a number, we have to show invalid input. Let me copy this, no, I'll do this later. Okay, I've understood the problem. Let's start this. Let me close this one and let's change this one and let's increase text size. So first we will set up the UI part, and then I will explain to you how you can decide when to use a use state hook or not. So they have mentioned that the first thing is input. ID is start range. I don't think ID will be important, but let's type it anyway. Type will be number because we are taking number input, and UMBR. And placeholder I am writing, they haven't mentioned, but I am writing it, start range. Let's run this. It should be working correctly. Why is it not displaying anything? Placeholder. Yeah. Now similarly, let's go for end range. End range. Finally a button. No, not finally. Button with ID, I don't know, I don't remember. Followed by the name of the button can be generate. And finally a div where we will show the output. Now let's see. ID of generate, button ID should be generate, and the div ID should be random number. Anything else? Start range and end range, these are correct. Great. So we have these details now. So how can we decide? Let me get rid of this hello there. How can we decide on which element we have to use a state or not? So let's go to input and decide whether its value will change or not, or anything in this will change or not. Yes, it will change. Whenever user will type anything, it will keep on changing, right? So its value will keep on changing. So we'll have to use state for this. Will anything for this button change? Yes. The value for this end range will also change. So we will have to use state for this. Will anything in this button change? No. Nothing will change. We are just clicking on it. That's an event handler, but the text will not change. Nothing will change in this button itself. So we don't need to use it for this. And will anything will change in this? Yes. Whatever we will generate as a random number, we will type it here, right? So it will change. So we will have to use state for these two and this one. Let's try to use that. Const start number, yeah, set start number is equals to use state, and we cannot use 0, false or true, definitely not, because it should be a number, and 0 is also a number, so we'll use null. Same we'll do for AND, and we will have to do the same thing for output. I will name this as output, or we could have named it as random number also, but okay, let's use output only for now. Stop set output, actually not set number, run. Why is it not working? Use state is not defined. Import use state from React. Use state in React. Am I doing something wrong in this? Okay, this one. Yeah, now it is working. The import statement was incorrect. There is a nice theory behind this. I'll explain you in one of my React courses, not this challenges. Okay, so now let's try to use these 6 variables. 3 are the functions and 3 are the values. So let's use each and every correctly. Output will be like the value, right? So we'll have to use it here. Whatever can be the value, we'll have to show it here. So as soon as we will change the output, it will get reflected here. How we will change it? We will have to change it using set output. We'll do that later on, right? And same goes for end number. It will be equivalent to value. And same goes for start number, which will be equivalent to start number. Let me use it like this. Okay. Or maybe I can break it into multiple lines now. Same for ID. Okay, now we will have to use these 3 functions. So we will have to set output once we have handled the click and all those kind of things, right? But we can update the value for start number and end number using set state number, set start number. So for that, let me quickly search. Actually, I think on change or something. There is a one event called, I don't remember the exact name, but let me write it down so that on change, we'll have to take the event, and from that we can extract e.target.value. So if you have used JavaScript, HTML, CSS, it should be straightforward that whenever this value changes, we are trying to get the value. Okay, now what do we have to do this value? This value we have to save it in set start number. Okay, I'll try to do something similar with end number also. If we'll get any error, we'll fix it later on. Set end number e.target.value. So my first task will be, let's handle this on click. We'll create a function. That's a standard Rails convention. You start with handle the function name, like handle generate button click. Okay, so that anything related to click we can handle in that. So let's create that here, function. Now in this first I will log whether we have this correct start number and end number or not. We are not using this end number, so let me use this set placeholder value we will have to use. Now we have all these things. Set output we will have to use in last. So what I will do first is const console.log start number and same for end number. I'm just logging whether we have those numbers or not. 5, 10, get rid of all the errors and generate, and we have these numbers. So now we just have to validate this whether they are number or not. For example, because this is front end, user can manipulate things, right? Whether they can type a string or anything else. So what we can do for that is, if in JavaScript there is a function called isNn, which is not a number. So if start number is not a number, or so you will have to read it like this: if start number is not a number or end number is not a number, then we will have to show an error, which is, what was the error? Invalid text. Let's copy this. And where will we show this error? In this set output. So I hope this exercise will strengthen your usage of use state hook. Else, for now what I will do is set output, although it is invalid, I will still write Rajat for now. Generate, it is working. Things are working. So now we have to use a random number here. For that, what we can do is math.random. Now this will generate a number between 0 to 1. For example, it is 0.5. So I can multiply this from the range that we have, which is end number minus start number. So for example, 10 minus 5, 5. This will be 5. And if this is 0.5, then the overall value is 2.5, which is out of range. So we can add a start number to this. Think of it like this. What if the value is 0? So in that case, this will be 5, 10 minus 5, 5 plus 5, 10. Okay, the value will be 10. Let me write it down, which can be the maximum value. And if it is 1, this is 1. This will be equivalent to, first one was 5, because if this is 0, the multiplication is 0, therefore start number is 5, and in second case that will be 10. So again, minimum and maximum range, it's working. So we just have to do const random number, and we just have to set it in output. And what I will do is I will use math.floor. I am not sure whether we should use it or not. I don't think it's compulsory, but let's do this. Let's run the test case. There is one thing which is missing, which they haven't mentioned, and I'm not sure if it is actually required or not. The condition that start number should always be less than end number, because if it is not, this might actually, it won't create an issue. For example, if it is 10, this is 5, so 5 minus 10 will become minus 5. So this value will be negative, but this is 10, so 10 minus of negative, again it will be in range only. So there is no issue actually. If you will think about it, there is no issue. Let me decrease the size of the code, so now you can check this, and let me run test cases. Where are they running? Okay, here. Invalid input when NN or empty values received from input. Okay, validation failed. Okay, in this case it is showing 0, so we will have to add more conditions here, which is that start number dot length equal to 0. What if start number, the length of the entire text is 0, or end number dot length equal to 0? If end number, length of end number is also 0, in either case number is not present. Okay, so let's rerun those test cases, then I will show this code to you. What happened? Generate invalid input, this is correct. Let me get rid of this from here. Invalid input. Empty value received from the state. Okay. Validates inputs from the is not a number, then invalid input is not a number, then invalid input. If the start number length is 0, then invalid input. Is end number length is 0, then also invalid input. Expected this to equals to this, something like this. Let's do one thing. Let's rerun all the test cases and see it in terminal here. Challenge 5 failed. The random number is not updating in the subsequent clicks. Okay. Maybe we should pass E. Event in here. Normally if it is click related, I think it is this only, prevent default. Let's rerun the test cases. What is happening in this? Let's not use math.floor. And these numbers are not getting generated correctly. What if I don't use this? Output is problematic. Okay, I think it is taking some time, but still we will have to fix it in that case also. Let me log it here, all the values. Console.log start number, end number, end number, end number. stop, run again. Five, 15, 13. Okay. What is the value in console? 5 and 13. Got it. This should be between 0 and 1. Console.log math.random just so that I can log these things. I'm just writing it because of that only. Let's log this random. Let's log this also. Let's log this start number also, because I'm unable to understand where I'm making mistake. Obviously we are making mistake, but it looks like really silly problem. Let's use 5, 10, sorry, generate. So we have this start number as 5, which was here, end number is 10, which was here, and random number is 0.15, which is this. 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 into 0.156 can be 0.78, which is also fine. Plus we are making this a start number. Okay, I've got the problem, and it's a nice problem to have actually. If you will see this number, it is a number, and at the end this is a string actually. So if you will see, we are getting this, and 5 is a string here. So what we will have to do is, we will have to parse these values actually. Const start is equals to parse int, and in that we will have to use the start number. So definitely it was a silly mistake, it should not have happened, but nevertheless. So at all places we can use this start and let's use this here also. Get rid of these consoles and use this math.random directly here. Get rid of this and run all the test cases now. Math.floor create start range and a range in number inputs. Okay, we'll have to name it as a start range and a range. Start range and range. I'm not updating this function number, it's fine. Ideally for coding convention we should, but I just want to make sure the test cases are passing. Okay, they are not, so let's fix that also. And a range ID is also start range and range. Create start range and range in number inputs. These are the number inputs: start range and end range. Let me check this instruction. ID generate button with valid number inputs in start range and end range. This okay. Now I'm getting bored a bit because they should have worked. Create a start range and end range number inputs. Let's use this here also. Ideally it should not work actually. Start range, end range, set start range, set end range. Start range, end range. Create, this is ID, right? Hash is ID. Add hash generate button, which we have added. Input this number inputs, type is number. Okay. If you remember, I removed it to test one of the test cases, right? Because of that we were getting that error. So yeah, it worked. Although there was silly mistakes in this, but we were able to navigate on our own. So that's what I think it's better to stick in that framework. And that's it for now. We'll create another video next time. Thank you. Bye bye.